Good afternoon, it's Paul. How are you all doing? Today I'm going to cover a request from Luke, who I've worked with before. Luke's point was what kind of architects exist in the enterprise. So I'll just quickly try and keep it short and sweet. So the usual business data, applications and technology is the domains that enterprise architecture takes care of inside the TOGAF model. I'll just keep to those today, and I will try and expand on them in the future. But inside business, you would have a business architect and probably supported by business analysts. What does that person look after? Well, they look after the operating model of the business, so the business processes, probably the actors and functions, so the customer personas, and they probably document their artifacts in things like UML or simple actors and functions diagrams, so that they can create those artifacts in maybe enterprise tool sets like Sparks or Mega or other products that exist. Could even just do it in spreadsheets, doesn't have to be a product. So the other area would be data. So a data architect would tend to be the custodian of things like the relational data, the data warehousing, maybe the JSON data that they store, and maybe the flat file information that they store. So probably work in conjunction with the business analyst quite a lot, because it's predominantly business process information and information systems. Between those two areas, probably the most interlinked components between business and data is those two architecture functions. Things like the data architect would maybe look at things like ETL, so it's extract, transform and load, and also would be interested in things like how to keep data clean. You know, if you get rubbish data into databases, then you're only going to get rubbish data back out. So that's kind of the data area. So applications now, under their taxonomy, you'd be probably things like COTS, which is COTS, common off-the-shelf solutions. So that's like when you go to a vendor, so you could maybe say SAP, HR functions where you're want to buy a product, maybe an Oracle product, not to just mention these particular products in general, but you're buying something off the shelf that you don't really customize straight away. You maybe work with customer journeys, the business and data architecture, or maybe put together some changes and configurations and maybe have a vendor modify the actual product. They also have in-house development, so you may have developers on premise that actually do your work for you. They'll be part of a team, whether it's agile or waterfall, so the problem known, solution known, or problem known, solution unknown. So they'll basically move forward. The application architect would be evolving maybe the development code, so they may be keeping in a life cycle of product sets, sort of slipping into technology there, so they may be developing C# or Java, or depending on what type of transactional, so Java's a bit more heavy computational, JavaScript's more operational. So they maybe are in charge of actually knowing what application types they develop in, but also how they get release, maybe how you are actually developing from a life cycle, and maybe how you're retiring products and bringing new products to the state. So they're custodian of how in-house development is actually carried out, and maybe works with a lead developer. There's obviously vendor bespoke solutions here, so that's when you have a vendor who you start from the outset who's going to develop for you. So that's maybe in replacement of having on-site developers. Could be offshore, could be onshore, could be in your actual office, could be set of workshops up front to actually develop a product. But you may be the custodian as the application architect. You may be the custodian of actually the output, and also you're going along at the same time with the development teams, following business and data input from those architects, and obviously working with the technology architect to possibly house it in-house within one of your data centres or on one of your cloud platforms, or maybe hosted by a vendor who doesn't necessarily be the people that actually write them. So that's maybe what an application architect would look at. Certainly the only other area is technology. So you have technology architects. So technology architects is a bit of an interesting one because it breaks down into more actual granular architecture roles. So you maybe have a network architect, you maybe have an infrastructure architect, a security architect, and you probably have things like capacity management and software licensing, especially as we move more into cloud architectures. So things like cloud utility costings, forecasting, it's kind of more playing into, especially if you're Google Cloud Platform or AWS or Azure. It's more about trying to keep costs down for the business. And you may have a testing architect. I don't come across them a lot, but it's certainly an area of the platform as you look at you look at design, build, and test and run. So that's some of the areas of the business data applications and technology architectural zones that are inside the architectural patterns of our enterprise. Thanks very much for watching today, and I hope to see you all really soon.